He further states this: the papacy waited until such a time as God should break its bonds asunder. So the papacy, while Rome was in place and governing, was what? Restrained. Because he says it waited until such a time as God should break its bonds asunder and should liberate it, listen to this, and should liberate it from subjection to civil powers. So what is the liberation of the papacy? The falling off of the chains. It means that now the papacy can govern not only in religious affairs, but also in what? In civil affairs. And so he says, the papacy waited until such a time as God should break its bonds asunder and should liberate it from subjection to civil powers and enthrone it in the possession of a temporal sovereignty, that's a political power, of its own. By the way, this is what the Apostle Paul was talking about in 2 Thessalonians 2 verses 6 and 7. Have you ever read about the mysterious restrainer that needed to be removed for the man of sin in order for the man of sin to manifest himself? Notice 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verses 6 and 7. The Apostle Paul says, and now you know what is restraining the man of sin. See, he was restrained. By the way, that restrainer, all of the early church fathers say that the restrainer is the Roman Empire. So it says, and now you know what is restraining, that he may be revealed in his own time. For the mystery of lawlessness is already at work. Only he who now restrains, which is the emperor, by the way, will do so until he is what? Until he is taken out of the way. So what is it that liberated the papacy so that it could use the sword of civil power? It was the fact that the barbarian invasions threw the Roman Empire into upheaval and chaos. And so those nations said to the Bishop of Rome, you need to bring law and order, govern upon us not only in religious affairs, but also in civil affairs. I want to read you some statements from some theologians on the style of government that existed during the Middle Ages. This statement is by James Conroy, a Roman Catholic. He says this: long ages ago, when Rome, through the neglect of the Western emperors, was left to the mercy of the barbarous hordes, the Romans turned, notice this, the Romans turned to one figure for aid and protection and asked him to rule them. Who was that they asked to rule? The Bishop of Rome. Today he's called the Pope. And thus, in this simple manner, the best title of all to kingly right commenced the temporal sovereignty of the popes. And meekly stepping to the throne of Caesar, notice the terminology, meekly stepping to the throne of Caesar, the vicar of Christ took up the scepter to which the emperors and kings of Europe were to bow in reverence through so many ages. Here's another statement from another historian, Karl Conrad Eckhart. He says, under the Roman Empire,